Hello, this is Renee Hahn with William Ravis Real Estate, bringing you your monthly Naples real estate market update. You're going to see a similar trend here, but I did want to share some additional information as we talk about the market. Let me start with some statistics. So, as you know, in this market update, we're looking at the Naples area. We're looking month over month, meaning this same time last year, how did the market perform versus this time? And I want to take you back because I feel like ever since COVID hit, all these years are blending together and last year seems so far off, but it's really not. I remember sitting last year, actually let's go back 2 years to the start of COVID, and I remember sitting there with buyers at a property and they said, Renee, this COVID thing I think is really going to take the market. We're going to hold off on buying and we'll come back in a few months and pick things back up. And at the time, and I didn't have a crystal ball, believe me, I don't have any additional insights other than watching what's going on and using my business skills to assess where I think things are going in the future. And I looked at them and I said, I respect that. I hope you're right, but I don't think that's the case. And unfortunately, 2 years ago, when people thought the market was going to come down in prices, it's just continued to grow exponentially. And each time we think we're at the peak of the market, it goes through another surge. In fact, if you go on my market page, where you've probably come to watch this video, and you look down at, let me correct that, on my main page, I've got on the landing page for the overall website, I've got a graph that shows how the price has been going up since 2019. And you can see each of them when we thought we were at a peak, then it turns and keeps going up. And candidly, the last few months have been even more record setting in terms of how fast things have gone up. Now, let me start with the stats, and then I'll go into some of the anecdotal feedback in terms of my assessment. So let's start with overall inventory. When I reported on this in December, inventory was down 77% December over December. For the month of January, we're down 75%. So inventory, the gap between the year before closed a little bit, but really only 2%. And when you think about inventory being down in the high 70s, that's still a huge shift, which is part of why the market is so favorable to sellers. The other stat I want to share is let's look at overall pending sales. In December, they were down 32% year over year. In January, they were down 38% year over year. Now, it doesn't reflect, and you might look at it and think, well, gosh, is demand curtailing? Not at all. I'm going to be very candid with you. The only reason that pending sales were down is because there just aren't enough sales to satisfy all the buyers. So don't look at that and think, oh gosh, it's shifting, sales are going down. The inventory, if the inventory picks up right now at the current demand, you'd see an increase in sales. Median closed price in December, year over year, the median closed price was up 26%. In January, it was up 39%. And I know if you're a buyer, you're feeling that. It's, I almost hate to make jokes about this, but the jokes are true. I tell people, if you started in the market for a single family home, that same price may only buy you a villa today. If you started looking in your budget a couple years ago for a villa, that same price may be buying you a condo for right now. And if you started in condos, sometimes you're priced out of the market entirely. That's how much things have shifted. Now, I don't want to scare you off, but I do want to be transparent. In this market, the 90-some%, I'd guesstimate 98% of the deals are going to cash buyers. And even if those buyers are using loans because the rates are still favorable, they're not putting finance contingencies. So what's really tough right now is someone that absolutely needs to have a mortgage to purchase their dwelling, and they can't compete because they can't afford to remove the finance contingency. So cash is king right now. Things are going very, very quick on the market, so you have to be agile. It's not surprising. There are things that get very attractive contracts on them before the buyer has even seen it. So sometimes even waiting for the start of the showings, and it's not unusual, something may hit the market today, but they may not do showings till tomorrow. There might be offers that come in that middle of that period. So the other person it makes it tough on, outside of the person that needs a finance contingency, is someone that needs to touch the product. It makes it really tough. It's tough to get showing appointments at times. It's tough to have the property allow enough time to get showing appointments. So I recognize that. It's one of the reasons I push so hard. You don't have to work with me, but please, please, please make sure that you're connected with an experienced, qualified, and capable real estate agent. New listings. The new listings went up, but not surprising. January is always where there's an uptake in listings. So we, for the month of January, had 1,272 listings. In December, it was 838. But what's interesting is the number of listings that are new went down year over year 23%. So again, you've got inventory shifting, you've got new listings that aren't coming on the market as quick. Overall closed sales was down 28% year over year, and days on market went down again. In December, it was averaging 27 days on the market. In January, it was 24 days on the market. Now, one of the things I want to share, how quickly a property sells is highly variable. So you see 24 days, but if you're actively in the market right now, you know that attractive properties, and attractive defined by either in ideal locations that are highly coveted and sought out by other buyers, or if you see something remodeled, particularly if it's an area where that's not as common, those go very, very quick. I often get asked the question from my buyers, Renee, what should we offer? How high should we go? And I am as analytical as anybody. If you know me, you know I used to be a Six Sigma black belt when black belt was on the scene, when Six Sigma was on the scene. I'm incredibly analytical. And I used to be able to do such a good job for my buyers in performing statistical analysis to tell them right where I think the sweet spot in the market was, what I thought they could offer, and I had a really high success rate. But I'm going to be very honest with you again. In this market, it's a guessing game. And here's why I say that. Everything that you look at maybe not have the market data to support it. So the statistics are out the window. So now it becomes a matter of what people are comfortable. How high above the market are you comfortable being? And that's not a science. So what I tell people is, we may be lucky on an offer. I had one the other day that I got under contract for $10,000 less than what it was listed for. It was listed for, I think, $799. We got it under contract for $789. That is probably not going to happen very often. But there are also examples where something may be listed for $1.2 million and it goes under contract for $1.3. That's a $300,000 increase. I would say that is also highly unusual. But what you don't know when you're making an offer is, are you making an offer on a property where one of those people that are going to come into the bidding process that, quite frankly, don't care what they pay for it. They just want it. And those are the people that will go up above the market price with no rationale, no predictability, and you just have to be comfortable with what your limit is on any particular property, what risks you're willing to take, and be okay if you don't get it. And if you don't always get it on the first try, sometimes it happens later. Perfect example. I had a customer, we were making an offer on a property in Naples Square, which is really close to downtown. The prices have been shooting up crazy in there. They made an offer, they got outbid because they were only comfortable with a certain price. I had a relationship with the agent. There was plenty of offers on the property. That agent called me 2 days later. The buyers that secured the property did so, and because it was a condo, they had a 3-day right of rescission. They canceled during that window. She came back to me and said, Renee, before we put it back on the market, I know your buyers really wanted this. I know what kind of agent you are to work with. Do you want to have an opportunity to make an offer on it? And so we were able to go back, get the same property. Again, none of those things happen all the time. It varies depending on how much interest you have in the property. But the point is, there are still homes available for sale. People are still getting them. yes, if you want a mortgage, depending on what area you're looking in, this might not be the best time to buy if you can't afford to waive your mortgage contingency. But there are still lots of opportunities. So before you give up, make sure you connect with an agent that can guide you through the process and who's actually going to be transparent and honest with you about what the situation is, because now's not the time to put on a smiley face and sell you a bag of tricks only to find that the information was off. So that's a little bit about the market. Now, if we look forward, people keep asking, we've got to be near the top. I don't know as well as anybody else whether we're near the top or not. I would suspect, given the trajectory we've been on, that at some point in the future we've got to be able to slow down. But there's only two things that are going to affect that. The price is either going to slow down because the inventory goes down comes up, or the buyer demand goes down. Those are the only two things, because everything going on in the economy will have an effect on us. If you look at what's happened over in the Ukraine, certainly that affects how people feel about the economy, and that may change buying behavior. But what it usually doesn't necessarily do fully in this area is it doesn't make the market prices crash, because I already mentioned we're a cash market, so you're not going to see a surge in foreclosures happen. You may see people pull back on discretionary spending, so demand could go down a little bit, but demand's got to come down a lot. I just said we're down, 75%. The market would have to shift by 75% to go back to equalizing the way it was. So my advice to you is this: if you're in the market and you need a home, or you just want one right now, stay in the market. Just be well informed that it could be a bumpy road, that it could take patience, that it could be a little frustrating at times. If you don't need to be in the market, then that might not be the right decision for you. But I wouldn't sit around waiting for prices to fall, because I don't think anybody's predicting that in this area, and certainly not in this year. So if anything, they may slow down a little bit, they may not. They may continue to grow before they do. So you've got to do the right thing by you. I hope this was helpful, and I hope everyone is off to a great start in their new year. Again, Renee Hahn with William Ravis Real Estate. Please check out the graphs below. These graphs on my market page are dynamic, so they're updated all the time with new data, and they're interactive. You can hover over them to see what the different rates are, get more information. And as always, if I can be of assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to me at 239-287-2576. Thank you so much, and have a fabulous day.